Welcome to Arirang's special edition of the 75th Armed Forces Day. I'm Shin Yeon, bringing you live coverage on the upcoming large-scale military parade set to take place in downtown Seoul. In a few minutes, we will see South Korea's latest homegrown military technology, like the LSAM, long-range surface-to-air missile, revealed to the public for the first time. We'll also be able to see some of the country's best-selling arms to the world, such as the K9 self-propelled howitzer. And it's the first time in 10 years a large-scale military parade will be staged here in the capital. Joining me in the studio on this historic day is former commander of the ROK Special Forces, senior fellow in the Association of the U.S. Army, and retired Lieutenant General Chun In-bum.
Thank you for the invitation.
All right. Great to have you here, Lieutenant General Chun. We also have a research professor from the Korea National Defense University, Professor Kim Hong-chul.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Now, both of you guys will take us through on how South Korea has been building up its defense capabilities amid the intensifying North Korean nuclear and missile threat. Now, Lieutenant General, I would like to first ask you the first question. It's the first military street parade we've been seeing in 10 years happening here in Korea. What's the significance behind Seoul suddenly flexing its military muscle to the world?
Well, the street parade was originally planned to occur every 5 years. But 5 years ago, because of the peace initiatives that the previous administration was undergoing, we had decided to postpone the parade. So we're having this parade in 10 years. I think the most significant meaning is that it reminds the Korean public of the importance of the Korean military and also emphasizes the importance of national security. Also, it's a good opportunity for us to show off our weapon systems, as you mentioned, and also say thank you to the soldiers who protect us every day.
And as you mentioned, it's the first time in 10 years that we've been seeing this. Back in 2013, at the time, South Korea and North Korea were trying to mend ties. That's why we saw a downsized. Until then, we didn't really see a big military parade happen in North Korea at the time as well. And the Armed Forces Day parade is being held this year, actually, before on the actual day on October 1st, as it overlaps with a major national holiday known as Chuseok. And this time around, we're expecting to see around 4,600 troops from the Army, Navy, Air Force and Marine Corps combined, along with 170 heavy artillery units like tanks, pass along the parade route. And I guess the location is worth noting for. We're going to be seeing a lot of people gather together from Sungnaemun to Gwanghwamun. Could you tell us more about the significance about the location, Professor Kim?
As far as I know, this place was used by the South Korean military many times. There are many other regions that Defense Ministry chooses this place, but I think the most significant reason is that this place is the center of the Seoul, which is the center of the South Korea, Korean Peninsula. So I think that place actually represents the South Korea very well. That's why Defense Ministry chose this place for the large-scale military parade.
As you mentioned, it is one of the busiest commercial and business districts in Seoul, from Sungnaemun Gate to Gwanghwamun Square, where regular civilians would usually go by their day. And we're also expecting to see over 300 combat troops from the U.S. Army, particularly those based in South Korea, take part for the first time ever. And I hear this is to commemorate Seoul and Washington's 70th anniversary of alliance, right, Lieutenant General?
Yes, it is. It's great to see American troops here. It reminds us that the United States has been a long friend of the Republic of Korea and to its military. The unit that is going to participate is the Stryker Brigade, and they are on a 9-month rotation on the Korean Peninsula. So it'll be a very exciting and unique opportunity.
All right. And originally, the parade was to kick off with 32 of our fighter jets up in the air. But as you guys already know, it's been raining from this morning. So all Air Force-related performances have been canceled. Fortunately, this hasn't dampened the excitement out there. As you can see on the screen, we are trying to prepare for the best military street parade we're going to be seeing for the first time in 10 years. And why don't we now take a look at, aside from just honoring the servicemen and women who have and still are sacrificing for the country, today's parade is actually going to highlight South Korea's military capabilities, right, Professor? So, Professor Kim, what type of artillery or weaponry should we keep an eye on for?
There are many munitions that are going to be displayed, but I would like to recommend the 3 weapon system that people should take a look at. The first thing is that let's focus on the homegrown KF-21. It might not be shown at this parade, but it's on display at the Seongnam Airport. It is domestically developed, the 4.5 generation, which completed the 142 flight test, and then it is slated for operational deployment in 2026. Also, it has a lot of advanced capabilities that we should take a look at. As far as I know, this is the first time the public can take a close-up view of it at the Seongnam Air Base.
And as we're speaking, it seems that we're now soon to kick off what could be the main event of South Korea's 75th Armed Forces Day. Like the way most military festivals kick off, we're seeing South Korea's Special Forces demonstrating Taekwondo. And could you guys tell us a bit more about what this Taekwondo is for the Special Forces out there? I hear they design their own movements, right?
Well, I have to admit that I'm a little prejudiced because I was the commander of the ROK Special Forces. The Korean Special Forces have developed a martial arts of their own particular needs, and it's much more robust than your average Taekwondo, but it is based on Taekwondo. So at every event, they are invited to show off their skills.
And what makes Taekwondo stand out? Like, is it better for close combat?
It is better for close combat, and it increases the individual's agility, and it is a great basis for further martial arts, which prepares a soldier for hand-to-hand combat.
All right. And as we can see on the screen right now, a lot of excitement does seem to fill the air. I think, what do you think about this right now? You're seeing on the screen what's happening at the moment.
Yeah, 40 years ago, I myself was on the streets parading. It's a lot of preparation, but once you're on that day, whether it's raining, snowing, whether it's hot, it's a great day to participate. I'm sure the young men and women are feeling the same way.
Right, and we can see that a lot of top officials are out there on the tanks and stuff. And Lieutenant General, I asked this question to Professor Kim as well. Are there any specific artillery or weaponry you are looking out for in this parade?
Well, I'm quite interested in the ballistic missiles and cruise missiles that the Republic of Korea has been improving and has been developing recently. So today, I think we'll get a glimpse of some of the weaponry that is improving the long-range capability of South Korea. So we see a lot about how North Korea is developing its weapons. We South Koreans are not just waiting to see what they're developing. We're also doing our best.
Right, and we're just minutes ahead for the military parade to kick off. Now, as we mentioned before, this is going to start from Sungnaemun all the way to Gwanghwamun Square. It's going to last around a kilometer for a whole hour. Streets have been closed off for public safety. You can see civilians are out there. We don't seem to see a lot of flowers or taegukgi being held in the air, but I guess that's because of the weather, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
But as you mentioned, are there any people around you who are going to be participating in today's parade?
Yeah, a lot of my colleagues actually took part in the flights, but because of the rain, it was canceled, unfortunately. But also there are many, soldiers, who are going to go to the Gwanghwamun area to take part in the parade. But because of the rain, it's very unfortunate.
I too remember a lot of my colleagues were very excited for this military parade as well. But hopefully the rain doesn't dampen the excitement anymore. And we're also expected to see a lot of people, very important people, come to this parade as well, including some war veterans, right? Why don't we talk about how they served our country? As of this August, around 222,000 are surviving here in the country, right?
Yes. So it's not just during the Korean War, but in every major international conflict, the Republic of Korea has been a part of that peacekeeping mission. In Vietnam, we were in Vietnam for 7.5 years. Nearly 500,000 Korean soldiers rotated in that conflict. And then in Afghanistan and in Iraq, we were there as civil military operators. And even now, we're in Lebanon and some parts of the African continent supporting world peace and security.
So not only are war veterans that participated years long ago, but we're still seeing servicemen that are serving our country as of this day now. And I would also like to focus on earlier how in the morning, President Yoon mentioned that he would try to help better improve the environment a lot of servicemen and servicewomen are going through. Right? What do you think about that, Lieutenant General?
I was really happy to hear President Yoon mention that because there's a lot of taken for granted on the welfare and the well-being of soldiers and their families. But today, President Yoon highlighted that he would commit his interest and resources to improving the welfare of the soldiers and the cadre. So I was very happy to hear that.
What about you, Professor Kim?
I think it is incumbent upon us to contribute toward the welfare of the soldiers, because as compared to the development of society, military actually has sacrificed in many areas. So now the time we should take a look at the that area in detail so that we can boost the morale among the young officers down the road.
And another part that he really emphasized was strengthening our ironclad alliance with Washington and Tokyo, right? It seems like now more than ever in geopolitics, strengthening our alliance with neighboring countries seems to be critical. What do you guys think today's military parade will send a message to the world? What type of message will it send?
Well, definitely it will emphasize the importance and showcase the alliance between the United States and Korea. But I think, as you just said, it's going to take just more than that, especially with the new challenges rising from the relationship between North Korea and Russia, as well as the traditional relationship with China. So I think this will send a strong message to our adversaries that Korea and the United States is strong, but that the alliance is expanding.
Right, and while we're speaking, President Yoon Suk-yeol has arrived to participate in this street military parade. Now, I would like to ask you the second question, the similar question to what I asked Lieutenant General. What do you think this parade encompasses for today?
Oh, this parade actually celebrates the 7 decades of the Iraq-US alliance. Additionally, it serves as a display of South Korea's military strength, particularly pertinent given the escalating tensions on the Korean Peninsula. While North Korea and Russia may seek arms deal or military cooperation, in reality, I think it is a manifestation of their vulnerability in face of the robust Iraq-US alliance. Because of that, hundreds of American soldiers and several aircraft are actively participating in this event. I think this joint military parade will send a resounding signal to the North Korea, underscoring the unbreakable strengths of the Iraq-US alliance.
That is a very good point that you mentioned. And the president is joined by a lot of top officials of the country, along with war veterans. That includes war veterans from 20 countries and even the granddaughters of Mark Wayne Clark, the UN Command's commander-in-chief who signed the armistice that ended the fighting of the 1950-53 Korean War. And I think for our viewers out there, while you're looking at our live coverage today, it would be interesting for them to note who was actually invited. What do you think about the delegation that was brought on to today's military parade?
Well, the veterans are, of course, invited, and civilians were invited as well. I heard that there was a healthy competition because a lot of people wanted to come. So a good part of the Korean society was invited. And then the foreign dignitaries, but the veterans who participated in the Korean War, as well as their descendants, were invited.
Right.
And as you mentioned, General Clark's descendants are here too. So it brings a lot of meaning to this event.
Right, Lieutenant General, we will have to see what happens and who has been invited. Now, we are starting off our first military parade in 10 years. As you're seeing on the screen, we'll now connect you live to Sungnaemun to see how this military parade will kick off.
오토바이를 행진하고 있는 우리 군사경찰 MC 기동대에게 여러분 뜨거운 박수 좀 보내주시기
So let us
바랍니다.
give a big round of applause to the MC maneuver unit.
군사경찰들의 모습이
We are
굉장히
seeing
멋지고요.
The police in their uniforms. It is a marvelous scene. And we are also seeing a huge amount of motorcycles, which is quite big in size.
자, 승리를 뜻하기도 하고요.
So this means victory, and this also means harmony, and we are seeing the MC maneuver unit in the shape of an arrow. And following, we are also seeing the arms commander, the combined arms commander. And as for Park Won-soo, Lieutenant General, he is the 46th class of Korean Military Academy, and he held positions such as Chief of Staff of the 8th Corps, Chief of Operation Planning of the Land Operation Command, and Chief of Staff of the 39th Infantry Division. And he has been in charge of many different areas such as joint operations and training, and as well as nurturing of soldiers. And he is considered to be the best person to lead the combined forces for this event. And we are also seeing Brigadier General Jung Sang-hwan, who is the staff officer of the Armed Combined Arms, and he is the 31st class of the Reserve Officer Training Corps. And as for Admiral Kim Hang-min, he is the staff officer of the Navy Combined Arms and is the 47th class of Naval Academy. And Brigadier General Lee Chung-jae, he is the staff officer of the Air Force Combined Arms and is the 41st class of Air Force Academy. As for Brigadier General Park Sung-soon, he's the staff officer of the Marine Corps Combined Arms and is the 48th class of the Naval Academy, and he is an expert in terms of the landing operation. And we are hearing a very big sound with the equipment unit. As for the car that is coming in, this is K-21, and as for this one can actually have 11 squads, and this one is capable of mobile combat, and it is equipped with 40mm machine gun, and it can destroy not only the enemy armed vehicles but also helicopters and light tanks. And we are also seeing the Taekwondo demonstration.
공수 특전여단이 독자적으로 장악한 실전형 전투 팀새로서 직접 전투가 공격과 방어 기술을 자유자재로 구사해
So this is one where we are seeing the play of the Taekwondo demonstration being carried out. We will see the attacks of the Kurute, which is to combat the enemy. And next one is the 120mm self-propelled mortar, and this is where it will enhance the survivability of the squads. And we can actually see the stature on site. And next is K9 self-propelled artillery, and this is domestic self-propelled mortar containing only the domestic technology. And this one can actually attack around 2 soccer stadiums with 6 of the artillery. Next is the 230mm multiple launcher Chunmoo, and this is a multiple launcher that can actually be greatly improving accuracy and range. And Chunmoo means that it will be attacking the entire sky without anything missing. And this one was selected through a public contest in 2011. And we are also seeing Cheongyang-2, which is R-K, and this is a artillery detection radar that can identify the enemy's firing origin. It is an all-in-one type with shelter antenna and the generator mounted. And next we are seeing the protective forces, and this is acting as a shield. And what we are seeing at the front is the 30mm anti-aircraft artillery. Yes, and this is the wheeled self-propelled missile. And here we are also seeing the combined artillery counter-air weapon for protection complex. And this one has 4 guided missiles, and it has the ability to detect, identify, and track airborne moving targets by penetrating at low altitudes and shooting them with a guided missile. And we are also seeing the short-range surface-to-air guided weapon, Chunma, and it is equipped with the chemical and biological radiological chemical reconnaissance vehicles as well. And this allows the detection of chemical, biological, and radioactive contaminants, and it can also report and disseminate them in real time. And next, we are also seeing the landing forces. And these are the equipment that are being used by Marine Forces. And this is where Marine Forces launch from the sea, land, and on the coast to quickly move deep inland, playing a central role in landing operation. And it provides firepower and survivability at the initial stage of landing, and it can overcome 3 meters of wave in height. And our Marines will launch from the sea, land, and quickly move deeply inland. And this will play a pivotal role in this landing operation. And it is quite forceful that the land is almost shaking. And next we will have the unmanned system echelon, and we have Navy UAV at the front. So journalists, what will be the UAV? This will be unmanned aerial vehicle, and it would be referring to the aerial vehicle. And as for the Navy UAV, this is operated to identify unknown maritime objects. And as for the Navy, currently it is developing the Navy SEAL, and as for the equipment that we are seeing, it will play a pivotal role for the Marines in the future. And we were seeing the unmanned vehicles, and next we have the division UAV as well. When you say division UAV, would it be referring to the Army? Yes, it will be so, and it is operated to acquire ground target information. As for takeoff, it is done through a launcher, and as for the landing, it will be done through an automatic landing vehicle. And we are also seeing the long-range reconnaissance unmanned vehicle and the stealth unmanned vehicles as well. So as for the stealth UAV, we can attack the enemy without being detected. And as for the attack drones, it has the function to be attacking. Therefore, if we have to attack the enemies, then we can also target the enemy. Next, we have the unmanned underwater submarines. And as for the unmanned submarines, this is one that is heading the future by the Navy, so it is still evolving. So we have high expectations for the future then. That was the unmanned submarines. And we have Army Tiger being following. So as for Army Tiger, I have heard of it. Would you be able to explain? So if I can simply explain, Army Tiger symbolizes a future ground military unit. And especially it has the warrior platform equipment, and it is mechanized. Therefore, it shows the blue picture for the future of our Korean Army. So the Army Tiger's demonstrative equipment would be the small tactical bow and the wheel-type armored cars. And we are also seeing the warrior platform that is equipped on Army Tiger. What would be the warrior platform? So as for the warrior platform, this will be one that will be crucial for the infantry in the future. And as for the warrior platform equipment, by wearing this, it will be able to enhance the power as well as survivability. And in front of us, we have K808 Backhoe, and we also have Pungik. So what would be the Pungik? So Pungik was one that was used at the Uijangbu front in Korean War. So this one, it was named after Mr. Kim Pungik, who fought in the Korean War. So what will be the equipment that we are seeing now? So we have the vehicle moving. We have the light movement vehicle moving, and this will be the domestic 3-axis for Korea. So the first axis will be KAMB, second will be the Kyochi, and third will be KMPR. And as for the first equipment, this is one that is operated by the Air Forces, and as for the second one, this is the Patriot missile, and the next missile will be the Cheongung missile. So we are seeing Cheongung passing in front of us, and following Cheongung would be one that is massive in size. It will be the long-range guided missile. So as for the long-range surface-to-air guided missile, this is called ALF-SAM. And as for this one, we don't have a clear name for it yet. Therefore, we might not see a name to it. However, this one will be a guided weapon, and this will be a strategic weapon for Korea in the future. And we also see Hyunmoo. So Hyunmoo is a representative ground-to-ground missile of the army, right? Yes, it is so. And as for the KMPR, this one is one with high precision. And as for your Hyunmoo missile, this is a ballistic missile. And as for it will be number 1, 2, 4 of the ballistic missile, and it can be categorized as so. As for the name Hyunmoo, it means the protection of the national territory. And you can think of the left Hyunmoo, right Baekho, south Sujak, and north Hyunmoo that we have in mind.
At the site, the sound of these equipment passing by is so loud that we cannot even hear ourselves. And the citizens and the people of Korea who are here today, they are witnessing the technological prowess of the equipment of our national defense. That is correct. Well, as the equipment passes by, we say that it really shakes the land and the sea. And even as my voice is going through the microphone, I cannot hear myself. Now we have the infantry forces coming in and marching through. The Army Command is coming in. The Army Unit Command, Brigadier General Park Dong-guk, is the 48th class of Army Academy, and he has served in a variety of front and rare military positions, including Mobilization Chief of the 2nd Corps and Chief of Staff of the Mobilization and Power Command. He is an authority in the field of mobilization and is an excellent general who is highly trusted by colleagues above and below. Following is the Armed Forces Military Band, and they have shared a lot of history with their excellence, and they're very proud member of the armed forces. The army flag, the unit flags have been throughout the 75 years, and as the Army Guard passes by, please show your respect for the national flag in front of you. The Army Band, of course, their prowess and their excellence is widely known, and the harmony that they are playing at the moment, it is very difficult to see abroad and internationally that has that certain limit of excellence. And the marching band is really bringing up the atmosphere of this festive land. The marching, they are very precise in their march. And as they are walking, they are hitting the perfect notch, so we could see how hard they have exercised. And we have the flag squad, and they have fought and died on numerous battlefields since the 75th anniversary of the founding of the Republic of Korea Army. The Army Flag Squad is comprised of the subordinate unit to the Army Ground Forces Command, a unit directly under Army headquarters. The subordinate unit flags symbolize Army brigade level units and above. This is a symbol of tradition and honor that must be defended under all circumstances. They play a pivotal role, and it shows the significance. And following is the Ministry of National Defense Honor Guard and Army Honor Guard. They are marching in front of the people. The National Defense Honor Guard, under the leadership of Lieutenant Colonel Lee Woo-chul, the team perfectly executed various national events and ceremonies. And the commander, in particular, Lieutenant Colonel Lee Woo-chul, he was discharged from Marine Corps, and he went to the 3rd Military Academy once again. So taking a closer look at their march, it is more magnificent than ever. Now the Army Honor Guard is making their entrance under the command of Major Kim Guk-jong. This unit provides flawless guard events for various events. The Republic of Korea, well, the choreography of the girl groups and idol groups are very renowned all over the world, and this is not shy of their choreography, I believe. And when we say it's the honor guard, people are curious about what kind of operations they carry out. And as I mentioned just earlier, they exhibit the marching of the honor guards. So we have the integrated military band that is following, which is followed by military academy cadets. Descendants of the Hwarang, the cadets of the military academy, march in full regalia. Since its opening on May 1st, 1946, the military academy has valued training elite officers dedicated to the nation and cultivating leaders who combine military and civilian life. With the soul of Hwarang in their hearts, our cadets are reborn as leaders of the future unified Korea facing the world. So please support and cheer for our military cadets. They are our proud sons and daughters of Korea. And now we have the cadets of the 3rd Military Academy, and people are giving them a big round of applause. Loyalty to the country, devotion to the people, big dreams in the heart. The class of 3rd Military Academy march in triumph. Since its inauguration on March 15, 1968, the Army's 3rd Military Academy has served as the nation's premier military academy for the preservation of peace. Next is the cadets of the Armed Forces Nursing Academy that is following. Searching for truth, practicing love, and protecting of the Republic of Korea, cadets of the Armed Forces Nursing Academy are marching, and they are in white uniforms. And following them are the Army Infantry Battalion, and they are the true warrior platform, who are the 1st Airborne Assault Division. The 2nd Rapid Response Division was established on January 1st, 2021, and is South Korea's 1st Airborne Assault Division and equipped with warrior platform. And next is following with loud cheers, the Special Welfare Battalion. Do or die, loyalty, honor, unity. Soldiers of the Special Warfare Squadron march with valor. Since establishment in 1958, the Special Warfare Command has participated in numerous counter-insurgency operations and executed them flawlessly. Also, contributed significantly to national defense and international peacekeeping through overseas deployments to Lebanon and South Sudan. Well, why are their uniforms all different? It's because their missions are all different, because they could be on the land or in the air or in the sea. So we can see what kind of uniforms they wear. Next is the Admiral Kim Byung-jae, who is the 47th class of Naval Academy, and he has executed the Chief of Personal Staff, Navy Headquarters, and Commander of Incheon Maritime Zone Defense. Next is the Navy Band, and with the loud cheers, they are marching through the street. And next is the flag squad representing the traditions of each level of Navy. They symbolize Navy squadron level units and Marine Corps brigade level units and above. This is a symbol of tradition and honor that must be defended at all costs. So they are in strict columns and marching through. Following them are the Navy Honor Guard. Under the leadership of Captain Park Tae-hyung, the Navy's majesty is being recognized around the globe through their discipline and vigor. Please give them a big round of applause. Next is the Naval Academy that is making their entrance. Descendants of Chungmugung Isunsin, Naval Academy cadets march in style. Since the Naval Academy's establishment on January 17, 1946, it is training the most elite Navy and Marine Corps officers who fiercely defend our seas. The Naval Academy is the future of our maritime power. We ask for your continued support. Next is Naval Mixed Squadrons. A mixed Navy battalion is a force composed of surface, underwater, air, and special warfare personnel that fulfills the core functions of the Navy. Our Navy is serving right now in our oceans and in the Gulf of Aden to protect our nation and maintain global peace. And the Navy's mixed battalion support the freedom, peace, and prosperity of the Republic of Korea with power at sea.
So next we have the Marine Corps who are entering while shaking their red flag. So we see the invincible prowess of the Marine Corps. So Marine Corps was founded on April 15th, 1949, and it is a unit that demonstrated its combat power in the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and the Yeonpyeong Island shelling. And its primary mission is to conduct landing operation. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Loyalty to the Republic of Korea. Let us cheer and support our Marine Corps. So I think when you see the prowess, the ghosts will run away because they're so fearful. I think this is the Marine Corps that will not only protect us from the enemy, but all of the civilian life as well. We now have the Air Force Command entering. As for Air Force Commander Brigadier General Kim Hoon-kyung, he is the 44th Air Force Academy student, and he has been in the 29th Tactical Development and Training Squadron, and he is currently serving as the Air Force Academy's Cadet Commandant. And he is a capable general with mild personality and excellent command skills. And we also have the Air Force's band following. We are seeing a very remarkable march parade with their songs. And I think everybody here is able to enjoy the parade thanks to the band as well. And we are also seeing the Air Force flag squad with the blue flags. This one has honor and tradition of each branch of the Air Force. And the military flag squad consists of the Air Force squadron or higher. And it is a symbol of tradition and honor that must be defended under all circumstances. We are seeing the Air Force Honor Guard with their grit and ambition as well. So this is one that is showing the highest power protecting the Republic of Korea. And in the same manner as we have seen previously, we are seeing the choreography of the honor guards being matched perfectly. Next, we have the Air Forces Academy. Dream of the sky, strength of sky. We are seeing the march of the cadets of the Air Forces Academy. The Air Forces Academy was founded on June 10, 1949 to train elite military officers to defend the airspace of the Republic of Korea. Next, we are seeing the mixed squadron of the Air Forces. This one consists of pilots and the explosive ordnance disposal, process controllers, and special missions forces. The Air Forces is a key force that operates aerospace power to deter war, defend airspace, and also to win wars. So this is the highest force protecting the Republic of Korea. We have just seen the mixed squadron of the Air Forces of Korea. So we are seeing the salutes being made by our Air Forces, saluting our civilians of Korea. So I'm sure they practiced greatly for today's parade as well. Despite the rainy weather, many are participating to cheer on our cadets and our forces, and I really want to thank all the participants as well. So the Korean citizens are able to show such a remarkable feat thanks to the efforts of our forces as well. So your cheers and your support is always a great power for our many academy cadets and the forces, so we want to ask you to continue to provide support and cheer. And please remember that ROK Army is always near where all the civilians are. Next, we have the UN Honor Guard, and we also have the US Ace Army, the Flag Corps, and the US Ace Army Band and the Strike Brigade entering. To commemorate the 70th anniversary of the US ROK Alliance, we are seeing the parade being held for the first time. So in the past, we had the UN Honor Guard and only the military band participating, but now we have more than 300 members of the US Ace Army, including the combat troops from the US Ace Army, participating in the march. And we are also seeing 258 forces entering under the leadership of General Benedict. And after the NPC dispatch, these forces have been carrying out their mission for 9 months. And since last June, this force is carrying out their mission. And we are calling them the warrior of the territory, and they are being led by the patriotism. And we are seeing the US Ace Army and the military band and also the Strike Brigade. So let us give them a big round of applause. Previously, we only had the UN Honor Guard and the military band participating, but it got bigger, as you mentioned before, right? Yes, because this is such a commemorative event, and it is being held for the first time in 10 years. I think that is why the event has grown to be bigger. And we are now seeing the MC. And now we will finish the march with the infantry and the equipment units with the rare military forces. Following the MCs will be our Armed Forces military band and also the future cadets for their Korea. So we will now finish off the march of the infantry and equipment units, and our MC police units is supporting them. And we are seeing the parade that is very rigid in shape. And we are now seeing the Armed Forces military band playing their finishments. And we are hearing very cheerful songs from the military band. So why don't we send them another big round of applause. Following them will be the training course. So what would be the training course for the future cadets? So this would be consisting of the military cadets, the officers are ROTC officers, and the non-commissioned officers, the RNTC candidates who are proud future leaders and who will be responsible for our military. And we are also seeing the placard. What does it say? It says ROTC, the future of Korea. So this is a placard that was prepared to show their vigor for the protected future they will be leading. So why don't we also give them a big round of applause, as they will be maintaining their persistence so that they can protect our country. So I think all of the citizens who are watching today are feeling the emotions that they're trying to send as well. So we often talk about the equipment when we talk about our forces, but what is more important is actually the people, the talents. So we have just seen the future cadets, and they are the future of our forces. And from Sungnaemun to the plaza, we have seen the marching band. And this will be the marching band of the Yeonggwang High School who are participating. This is the only high school marching band in Korea with a 40 years worth of tradition. And it is enhancing the street parade with their colorful and stunning performance. So let us give them a big round of applause as well. So they are shaking the golden flag and they are gracing our street parade. We have just seen the Yeonggwang High School marching band. Even as they're entering, they are showing a remarkable performance. So we have just seen the infantry, the equipment units, and we are now closing with the march of the marching band.
어떠셨어요, 기자님?
How did you feel?
저는 10년 만에 개최된 행사이고
So
오늘
this is an event that is being held for the first time in 10 years. And I had high expectations, but since it's a rainy day, I was also worried. However, as we have all seen until now, we were able to see the vigor and the power and the prowess of all the forces and our bands, and I am very proud. It was an honor for me as well. As for the ROK Army, through the 75th Armed Forces Day, it will be able to show off its advanced weapons that will be overwhelming the other forces, and we were able to once again show our commitment. So this shows the promises of Korea that we will be achieving strength through peace.
Now, the people of Korea are witnessing the prowess of the ROK armed forces, and we are together witnessing the street parade. As we are taking part in the street parade, I believe that this was a great chance for us to instill the proud in our hearts. And also, the people who are watching this parade through TV or online, I hope that you can cheer on our armed forces and having the sense that you are marching together with them. The Yeomgwang High School Marching Band is marching through the street with their magnificent performance. At the moment, we are seeing on the big screen in Gwanghwamun Square the Jeongjo, the Great Warship, that is making its entrance. This is the next generation Aegis vessel, and with the AR, we are seeing the Jeongjo the Great. It is participating on the street march today. This is the fourth Aegis destroyer of the ROK Navy, and it has an overwhelming scale, and through this AR we could feel how overwhelming it is in size. 75th anniversary of Armed Forces Day is organized by the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps. The Navy's next generation Aegis destroyer, the King Jeongjo the Great warship, joined the parade in augmented reality.
올해 2023
celebrates the 75th anniversary of the Armed Forces Day and 70th anniversary of Armistice and 70th anniversary of ROK-US Alliance. And together, through this event, I believe we are all able to witness the loyalty and devotion of our soldiers as well as our military and national defense prowess.
Now, coming back here to the studio, we're coming back after seeing Cheongjo the Great, our Navy's first 8,200-ton Aegis destroyer, on the screen. And it was quite the scene, actually. We're seeing it using augmented reality. South Korea is well known for its ICT and science technology. And thanks to that, we just saw this great ton destroyer out in the streets of Gwanghwamun. I cannot believe it. Now, Lieutenant General John, last year, President Yoon celebrated the launch of this new destroyer named after a visionary king from the Joseon dynasty known as Cheongjo. Could you tell us a little bit more about the destroyer's capabilities?
Well, it's an 8,200-ton ship, which makes it the biggest ship that the Korean Navy now has, except for its flat tops. So for a combat ship, this is the biggest ship that we have. As you said, it's an Aegis-class destroyer, which means that it can detect, track, shoot down, intercept up to or more than 100 targets at the same time, so it's very capable. What is unique about the Cheongjo is that it has the capability to shoot down ballistic missiles. So previous Korean Aegis ships were able to detect and track ballistic missiles, but we had a very limited capability of shooting these oncoming missiles. But the Cheongjo, once it is operational in about 2 years, it will have the ability to shoot down incoming ballistic missiles. So it's a great capability add-on to the Korean military.
Adding on to your question, what do you think has led to such sudden development of our naval capabilities then?
Well, it's not sudden, but I think we had good foresight into anticipating the types of challenges that we would have in the future. So we were able to foresee that challenges would be coming from all directions, and we were able to prepare for this. It takes quite a while to build and make sure that a ship like this is operational, so I'm glad to see that some preparation had gone to this.
And I think a lot of countries are taking note of how quickly our military capability is building up. As we saw today throughout the military parade, we saw some of our biggest exports like the K9 Thunder self-propelled howitzer and the K2 Black Panther. Lieutenant General, how big are our arms sales getting, and to which countries and how attractive of a partner are we becoming in terms of defense deals?
So Korean arms are reliable and they're pretty good for the price. So unfortunately, the war in Europe has created a market for weapons that are deliverable. And so that's where now South Korea is able to provide assistance to stabilize and assist countries that are facing security challenges. On the other side of the story, unfortunately, our adversaries, the North Koreans, are able to provide the similar capabilities and ammunition to our opponents. So it's a two-track story.
It is a two-track story, and it was quite interesting to see that one of the countries that we actively export to is Poland.
Yes.
And they're neighboring with Ukraine, Belarus, and they're very nearby Russia. And recently on August 15th, during their Armed Forces Day and their military parade, we saw the K2, K9, and FA-50. And I was quite surprised to see a lot of our Korean military out there, right? Military equipment out there.
Yes. Good products at a good price.
But
so there's no reason not to buy Korean.
Yes, Korean made. But then again, as you mentioned, it is a two-track system that we need to keep an eye out on because of North Korea, an imminent security threat that has always posed a nuclear and missile threat here, not only in Korea, but in other parts of the world. And to counter that, the South Korean government has been actively strengthening its missile defense system. It's also been trying to expand trilateral coordination with the United States and Japan. And earlier in the parade, we saw the epitome of this through our three-axis system. Professor Kim, could you tell us more about what this three-axis system is and how it strengthens our counterattack abilities against the North?
The three-axis system is designed to deter North Korea from using nuclear weapons or engaging in military provocations. While conventional weapons may not possess the same level of destructive power as nuclear ones, the weaponry within the three-axis system has highly sophisticated precision capability. As demonstrated in the Persian Gulf War in 1991, precision has a significantly important factor for achieving the success in warfare. So I'm confident that these 3-axis systems supported by C4ISR PGM and space power will be a crucial factor that we can actually neutralize the North Korea's nuclear capability that can be deployed, and before it can be deployed, and even in the launch of North Korea's missile, I truly believe that the South Korea's KMD system will sufficiently intercept them. So therefore, it is imperative for us to focus on the development of this 3-axis system for the future.
Right, and for our viewers out there who are first hearing about this 3-axis system, it was designed after North Korea's 5th nuclear test in 2016. It is composed of 3 axes, the kill chain, the KMD, short for Korea Air and Missile Defense, and KMPR, short for Korea Massive Punishment and Retaliation. And I would like to look into the vital pieces of equipment in this 3-axis system. Lieutenant General, eyes were particularly on the LSAM, short for Long-Range Surface-to-Air Missiles, and it's the first time it has been revealed to the public. Could you tell us a bit more about the purpose and capability of this weapon?
When an enemy ballistic missile is approaching our territory, we have 3 opportunities to shoot it down: at the very high altitude, mid-altitude, and very close to its imminent impact area. Obviously, you want to destroy the incoming ballistic missile as far away as you can. And in order to do this, first you need to detect the launch and the trajectory of the missile. And so that's where our radars come into play. After the radars and other satellites identify the missile, we have our missiles to launch. And at the very high altitude, the very famous THAAD is a missile that is used.
Right, and that's why we're calling the LSAM the Korean-style THAAD. But as we're talking, we're seeing President Yoon come to the military parade. He is waving hands to all our servicemen and servicewomen out there. Let's now take it back live to Sungnaemun and Gwanghwamun Plaza to see where the president is heading right now.
중앙단상을 향해 주십시오.
So let us all face the podium.
대통령님 말씀이
We will
있겠습니다.
now hear
다시
from
한번
President
큰
Yoon.
함성과
So let us
박수
give him
부탁드립니다.
a big round of applause.
국군 장병 여러분, 오늘 수고
Dear
많으셨습니다.
members of the forces,
그리고
you have
오늘
done well today. Thank you.
우리의 주권자인
As for today,
국민에게 여러분의
to the
늠름하고
citizens, we were able to
용기
show
있는
your
모습을
prowess and your courage.
보여드리게 돼서
And
저도 기쁘고
I am very
또 이
pleased that we were
행사를
able to do
준비하기
so.
위해 정말
And
수고 많이
for today's
하셨습니다.
event, you have done so much, and I really
군은
want to thank you. As for our ROK forces, we are one with ultimate strength. And we are trying to guarantee the freedom and safety of our citizens, and we have great responsibility. Our citizens were able to see your stature and were able to see your very proud march. And I'm sure that they are going to have more confidence about you and are now we're feeling safe and believe that you will be able to protect their safety. And I'm sure that they'll be able to trust all of the ROK forces. And I will also continue to support and cheer you on. Thank you.
우리 국군의 충성을 다짐하는 구호를 제청하고
we will be shouting our cheers and slogans in unison.
장병 대표가
And we will
선창하며
also
다
have the
같이
태극기
호청해 주시기
ceremony. So
바랍니다.
please shout. Force that protects the peace. Strong Korean army. Fighting, fighting, fighting. Loyalty to the nations and citizens. Loyalty, loyalty, loyalty.
The 75th Armed Forces Day military parade has wrapped up. Despite the rain, excitement filled the air. And as the president said, I think it was a chance for a lot of civilians out there, including myself, to feel the strength and the preparation that the ROK forces have. Now, here in the studio, I would now like to ask you both how you evaluated this year's street military parade, starting with you, Professor Kim.
I think this year's, military parade has a significant impact on the future defense of South Korea. And also, this is the moment that the United States and South Korea can achieve the ironclad, alliance, camaraderie. So the soldiers who took part in that parade, U.S. soldiers, got a chance to talk with or communicate with the South Korean soldiers. In that way, they can build up the camaraderie in some way. I think that will help the build the South Korea military better, and the South Korea and U.S. alliance, stronger. That's the belief I have.
Right, and Lieutenant General, before we started the parade, you mentioned how you anticipated that we would actually showcase our capabilities to the world. Do you think that type of message was well delivered across?
Well, I hope so, because we showed not all of our weapons. We showed our most modern weapons that has been in the news. And I think if probably the North Koreans and other countries are looking very closely at the weapon systems that were shown. But I just would like to remind everybody that this is not the whole thing. And the weapons that were shown today are the showcase of the Republic of Korea, and they're very good weapons.
And as you mentioned, they're still under development.
Some of them are, yes.
Some of them are still under development, yet we've still decided to reveal them to the public in early stages, that is. And that's why this leads me to the last question I have before I let you two go. And that is, we're seeing geopolitics quickly evolve, right? We're seeing stronger relations with Washington and Tokyo, whereas North Korean leader Kim Jong-un recently visited Moscow and he discussed ways to develop strategic weapons. In this type of geopolitical situation we're situated in right now, how can we better strengthen our military and defense capabilities and our allianceships?
So I think with the alliance, we need better communication, but we need to also expand our reach within the region. And what I mean by that is not only the United States, but countries like Australia, the United Kingdom, Canada, and New Zealand have been traditional allies that have made great sacrifices during the Korean War. And also, our closest neighbor, Japan, now provides us with a lot of military capability. And with the new rising challenges that we need to have a more broader relationship with the Japanese self-defense force. That's just the reality of the situation that we're in. So I think we need to look at that as well as to improve the weapon systems that we have. But at the same time, all these high-tech weapons that we saw today and those weapons that we were not able to see, like the FA-50s and the KF-21 fighters, which are very capable aircraft, I think that we need to focus on the basics. And what I mean is the infantryman, he still needs a great rifle. They still need good night vision goggles, first aid kits. So we need to remember the basics, and most importantly, that people are the most important asset that we must concentrate on.
I cannot agree more, and that's what President Yoon did mention and stress throughout the early morning ceremony. He mentioned the basic and the morale,
yes,
which centers around the humans there. That includes training corps, the cadets there, which are the future of our military from now on. What is your ending note today, Professor Kim?
The world around us is highly unpredictable. And South Korea finds itself confronted by the three major authoritative nuclear states such as China, Russia, and North Korea. So I would argue that relying on the robust ROC-US alliance, the integration of the fourth industrial revolution technology with the continuous investment in the South Korean military will be a pivotal factor that we can deter the North Korea and then also deter any forms of future adventurism by North Korea. That's my belief.
All right, so understanding our strategic allies and also covering the basics and understanding that it's the human beings that are in there and making sure that we improve how they are treated, their wage, and anything related to military equipment as well, like even all the basics is the key way to go. Thank you so much today. It was a pleasure having you both here in the studio. That was Lieutenant General Chun In-bum.
Thank you.
And Professor Kim Ok-chul. All right. And that was our live special edition of the 75th Armed Forces Day Military Parade. For the first time in 10 years, we were able to see what this year's theme enclosed: a strong military, robust security, and peace through strength. From all of us here in Seoul, thank you for joining us and celebrating those who are continuing to serve and protect our nation.